All right, so to start, what does this mean to you to be able to do this each year in memory of your sister?
Oh, it means everything. Jennifer was such a force in not only my life, but so many other people's lives across so many different areas of life and different parts of the community here in Buffalo. And so, her impact and in her loss, of course, is still felt by, myself, my family, our friends, her friends, people who knew her, people who worked with her. And so to be able to do something in her memory, in her honor, that supports a cause as, you know, incredible and as impactful, I should say, as Recovery Options Made Easy and their Respite and Recovery Center. It feels like it's a very appropriate way to honor her memory by, raising these funds year after year, combining all the things that she loved the most, music, comedy, the arts, and at the top of that list, giving back and helping others.
And you mentioned a couple of things that people who attend will be able to experience to enjoy this year. What can they expect from this year's show? And I know it's back at Nietzsche's this year, so what can they expect?
My co-founder of the Concert for Jen, Jake, who was Jen's partner at the time of her passing, a brother to me. Him and I, year over year, we really want to make it feel like there's a little bit of a different flavor, and to each concert year over year. The first one was at Nietzsche's, and it was really us kind of getting our feet under ourselves for figuring out like the scope of this, and it was so involved. I mean, we had like 40 to 50 different like basket raffle items in addition to three different comics, three different bands, a burlesque performance, 50-50 raffle. Like there was so much to it. And so then last year when we had it at Town Ballroom, more space, which was helpful, and in a similar scope where we had three artists, two comics, and a burlesque performance as well. And it was great having it at Town Ballroom. It was an amazing venue. Obviously, everybody loves Town Ballroom, and they were wonderful hosts to us. But this year we decided that we wanted to, in addition to giving a new flavor each year, we wanted to change the scope a little bit. So we brought it back to Nietzsche's, which again is where we had the first iteration of the event.
Right.
And really, like the reason why we wanted to bring it back there was because Nietzsche's was like it's Jen, like it's somewhere that she loved to perform stand up. It's somewhere she loved to hang out, somewhere that she loved to go see shows. I mean, she had seen so many of my band shows theirs over the years. Her picture is on the wall behind the bar and in like the front room area by the big stage. So like, she was really ingrained in the community there at Nietzsche's. So for starters, we wanted to bring it back there because also we like the intimate nature of being able to hold an event of this size at Nietzsche's.
Hmm.
But for what people can, I know that was a long way of getting to actually answering your
Oh, no
question,
worries.
but for what people can expect this year, we're really, really excited. We really, I think, up the ante when it comes to our headliners this year. So first of all, on the comedy side of things, we have Caitlin Palufo coming to town. She's a national touring comedian who has been on the Tonight Show just a couple of weeks ago. She's, I believe, been on the Late Show with Stephen Colbert. Various shows within the late night circuit. She tours all around the country at some of the most renowned comedy clubs that there are in the United States. Incredibly funny, already a great following, but is just like continuing to just like blow up more and more. So we're really excited to have her as playing at or performing, I should say, at Nietzsche's on the Buffalo stop of her current national tour that she's on. In support of her on the comedy side is going to be Jake Pisker, who I mentioned is the co-founder. He's opening up again. He has opened up the comedy side of things for the last 2 years. So we're going to continue that for both mine and Jake's involvement. Um, then we are going to have another performance from the Stripteasers, a local burlesque troupe that Jennifer was involved in and had hosted some of their events. A lot of friends too within that group, and so we're really excited to have them back. They have a really fun time with their performance year over year, and for an event like this where it has people of varying ages and interests and whatnot. A lot of people that maybe haven't been to a burlesque show before. It's been
Mm.
really cool seeing folks who are, maybe on the older side or not necessarily accustomed to seeing a burlesque show and just having a blast with it. So we're really excited to have them back. And then on the music side of things, we have Grosh headlining, which Grosh is one of the best local bands. If you have seen them, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And if you haven't seen them, do whatever you can to get to Nietzsche's on April 19th because there is few, if any, bands that rock harder than Grosh. They are just an incredible act. They are bursting at the seams with energy in their performances, and it is just four ridiculously talented musicians coming together to make some just real good old fashioned gritty rock music. And then my band, my new group, Deb, is going to be opening up the music side of things. It's going to be our first show. We're really excited. It's myself, my bandmate in Slow Animals, Dakota Lord, Eric Corey, who was previously in the Rochester Buffalo band Animal Sounds, and then John Purdue, who plays in Previous Love, which is one of the best alternative rock bands in Buffalo. So that's going to be our first show. We're really excited to get to play it. And, like I said, it's really, we wanted to make this year and every year just a really cool collection of talent. Especially, it's really important too because Jennifer was just, such a supporter of female artists of all mediums. And so that's something that year over year, we always like to make sure, both on the music side and on the comedy side as well, that we're putting female artists at the forefront. And so we're really excited for having, like I said, Caitlin headlining on the comedy side of things and then Grosh headlining the music side of things. I mean, it's really like, that's the thing is where I feel like this year we maybe pulled back on some things. Like the raffle is going to be a little bit scaled back, where this year it's going to be just more of like the bigger ticket items. So we have items autographed or autographed items donated by the Bills and Sabres that are going to be up for grabs as part of our raffle, in addition to a 50-50. We pulled back on the basket raffle side of things a bit just due to the space and just also kind of shifting the focus a little bit. And we really wanted to put a lot of our, energy towards just building a really cool lineup and a really cool program of artists throughout the night. So yeah, we're really excited about it.
My next question, you kind of talked about it, this being Deb's first show, but what does it mean to you to be able to premiere your band, your new band at this show? Like, obviously, you've been in a bunch of bands before, but this new project, what does it mean to be able to launch it at the Concert for Jen?
Yeah, it's really, really special. Like I mean, in addition to being siblings, Jennifer and I were best friends, and she was somebody that was far and away my biggest supporter when it came to music, whether it was, cover stuff with Slow Animals or especially I should say with original projects. I think back to when Canadis was first starting out, and Jen was obviously at all of our shows, but I would like show her some of the music that we were writing in the early days, and like she was just so supportive, so encouraging and enthusiastic. And that's really been the case with any project that I've been a part of. Like she just was always there at any show. I knew that I would be able to look out into the audience and see Jen there and see her singing along. And that's something that has been really difficult for me in the aftermath of her passing, just not kind of having that anymore, like that like best friend encouraging presence there, and for everything that she did for me and helped supporting us and promoting us and like getting her friends to come out to shows and sharing our music and everything like that. Like she really was just like my biggest supporter. And so, you know, getting to do this new project now and debuting it at the Concert for Jen, I think is, really amazing. I mean, we've been working at this for, probably about like 6, 7, 8 months now. And didn't know like when we started that our first show was going to be the Concert for Jen. I mean, we were planning the concert at that point, but it wasn't like it was like a for sure thing or like that it was even we were going to be ready by this point. And it just kind of the stars aligned that, as we kind of got more into the fall and early winter, that we realized that we were probably going to be able to be ready for it. And it just, I think, really means a lot now to be able to debut this new project on a night that is honoring her, and to be able to kind of share it with her in a way, because it's very difficult at times, but also very nice at times when I can like feel her presence at shows. Um, and there's a lot of times that I like look out still and, like expect to see her or hope to see her. And, there's other nights where it's like I'm performing and I can just like feel that she's there with me. And that's been the case when I performed at Nietzsche's before, because it is a place that just feels so like tied to her. Um, and so, yeah, being able to debut, a new band with new music with, three very good friends of mine, Eric and Dakota in the band, both knew Jen well and were friends with Jen too. John and I didn't become close until after she had passed, but, there are three guys that, I love very dearly, and we really love the music that we're making, and they understand, the gravity of the night and what it means. Um, and so, yeah, it means everything. It's it's going to be a really special night, and even though she's not going to be there in the physical form, I know that still, she's going to be there with us, and we'll be, I'll just, it's like I'll be imagining her in the crowd there looking out with a huge grin on her face and smiling and being her usual supportive self.
And I think she'd love that you're doing this. Like, and
Thanks, Adam.
yeah. Um,
Thank you. I hope so. I think she really would. Like I said, it's just like with everything. Like even after shows too, we would always have like debriefs where she'd be like, "All right, well, like in this song, I thought you sounded good here, but maybe you can look out for like this when you're in the verse of this one." And Jen being a writer herself, lyrics were something that with her own personal taste in music, but also with like myself and her being so supportive of me. Um, she was always somebody that would be the best person to get feedback on from writing lyrics and stuff, because she was just such an amazing writer herself. And so, just there's just so many components of it where um, it's bittersweet, because it's like this is going to be a really beautiful thing, and it's going to be amazing getting to debut the band, on a night that's celebrating her and a celebration of her life. And um, but at the same time, it's obviously really tough because you wish that she would be able to be there and, to be able to get off stage and give her a hug and hear what she has to say about it. And so, but at the end of the day, the love that myself and so many other people have for her is really going to be at the forefront that night. And so, either way, I know she's going to be there.
and the last question I got for you today, is there anything else you want people to know, anything they should know ahead of the concert for Jen this year?
Yeah, so I think the big thing is, while this is, a celebration of my sister's life in the name of a really incredible cause, this is an event that we want people to come to, who, even if you did know Jen or you didn't know Jen, you vaguely knew her, you didn't know her at all, we want people, anybody, that has any kind of a connection to, mental health, addiction, um, loss, grief, like anything like that. We want people to feel welcomed at an event like this, because really the thing is that, yes, it is going to be a ton of really exciting, acts performing throughout the night. But at the same time, it's also meant to be an event that brings people together
Mhm.
to share in, celebrating the lives of those who've left us too soon. And so, if somebody, like I said, has a connection to, mental health and suicide, or they have a connection to, folks with addiction or loss or grief of any form, everybody is welcome to come out, and we want you to be there. It's something, like that's in the midst of all of this fun that's being had throughout the night, and being able to be with loved ones and complete strangers and friends and what have you. um at the heart of this event, it really is, just this shared sense of community, and bringing people together and making people feel like they're not alone with whatever their struggles may be, or whatever they've had to go through, or whoever they've lost. Like, you aren't alone. And a lot of times, you know when you're in the aftermath of loss and of especially when it comes to like sudden tragic loss like how we had with Jennifer, um, it can be very isolating and you just feel like nobody really gets it and people don't get it unless they've gone through it or have a close tie to somebody who's gone through it. And I think what's really special about this event is that, it's a night where I've gotten to relive memories of Jenn, people sharing memories of Jenn, people sharing memories of loved ones that they've lost. And it's just something that I think it's beautiful how it can bring people closer. And I think that it helps combat some of the isolating nature of that grief presents to us. Grief is not a linear process, and we're 2.5 years since Jennifer passed now, and there's days where I feel like I have a grip on it, and there's days where I feel like I definitely do not have a grip on it. And what's been really helpful to me through this process, though, is being able to open up and being able to lean on people, both loved ones and, even people that you just meet that have gone through something similar, and being able to connect and share stories. And I just think that, that is really at the heart of it because that was something that Jennifer loved, which was bringing people together, in the name of a greater cause, a greater purpose, and just helping each other, like that's how you get through anything in life is helping each other, especially when it comes to loss and traumatic events. And so I would more than anything else, like, if you knew Jenn, that's amazing, and we want you to be there, and we want to hear about your stories with her. And if you didn't, but you still have a connection to this cause in any way, or if you want to just come out and support a good cause and have a good time, we welcome and encourage you to come out. And I can promise you, like, the first 2 years have been an incredible time, and this year I know is going to be an incredible time as well. And we're really, really excited for it and excited to put this event on again.
Brandon, thank you so much for taking the time to talk with me today about the show.
No, I appreciate it, man. And like I said, feelings mutual, keep crushing it with work and life and everything. And I hope you guys enjoy the nice weather too for a couple weeks.
Thanks so much. I appreciate that, Brandon.
All right, brother. We'll talk
All
to you
right.
later.
Talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye.